local ones live further north. I tell you one reason they're interested. It's by far the most valuable, important place left in the world for science. That's why the scientific groups all over the nation are really interested. But more important than that, it has to do with the future of the nation, those to come after us, or even during your lifetime, because it happens to be an untouched reservoir of natural resources.
Admiral Byrd, who was the first to fly over both the so-called South Pole and the North Pole, said that especially the North Pole would be an area for a lot of scientific study. But that is actually quite strange, because today the North Pole is supposedly either an ice sea or a frozen plain where there is nothing to find. So what groundbreaking scientific studies can we do in this area now? And what has become of this statement or research? Is there actually anything to discover at the North Pole? We are not allowed to go there, of course. That is the first thing that stands out. It would also be an inaccessible place that is almost impossible to reach and a dangerous journey. There are many stories to be found of explorers who lost limbs, with all kinds of explanations that become more and more bizarre. It is also a kind of mythical area, of course, that has many descriptions in history, all dismissed as nonsense or mythology and not to be interpreted literally. And the North Pole is an incredibly beautiful, meaningful clue and starting point for this story. The story in which I will explain in my own words what my theory exactly tells. A theory that is very advanced mathematically and physically described. So everything I tell is also physically sealed with formulas, and you name it. It is literally a theory of everything that can compete with other theories, since it is written in the same language. I have defeated them on their own territory, because it has become clear to me what the deception here is exactly. The deception is, among other things, our ignorance. They can do their science fine, openly and honestly, knowing what they know or research in relation to what we know or understand of it. Because what the research embodies, what they do at CERN in Switzerland, is exactly that field of science that was mentioned by Admiral Byrd. It stems from what literally happens at the North Pole. It is, of course, the reason why we are not allowed to go there. Although I think that most scientists at CERN are also not allowed to go to the North Pole. However, I think they know exactly what is happening at the North Pole and what it shows. I see that first of all clearly in the kind of researches they are doing at CERN, and besides you also see it in the fact that the subject of flat Earth is so incredibly censored. Why is it absolutely unacceptable to talk about it? We can talk about anything in our world except flat Earth. Ask yourself why. If I were to go to an astronomer who is just seriously doing his work and who has no idea of a flat Earth or another conspiracy, what is he exactly measuring? And how is he supposedly deceiving the people? Apparently there is something to measure and collectively observe in that universe, and what we then measure or interpret as data is mainly through radio telescopes, and that is also very telling because we cannot observe all those cosmic processes with our own eyes. Apparently these processes are invisible to us and they take place in so-called infrared, outside our perception. But apparently we can measure these processes collectively and we get similar results, and it is therefore a kind of truth that cannot be flattened or ignored. And that is what the science has again packaged so cleverly for the people, because that is the scientific consensus. We live in the rotating balls universe. But that is a movement that we cannot perceive in our daily life. The universe also takes place in a four-dimensional environment, and that is something different than our three-dimensional environment. In that four-dimensional space-time, we rotate as the Earth in that universe, in which things move at incredible speeds through that infinite universe. In that four-dimensional space-time, we rotate around the Sun, but that is not the Sun that we see daily locally in our three-dimensional world. The Sun and the Moon, as well as the stars, are within our sphere. What I realized after I became fully aware of the science, we are in the Earth. We are in that sphere on a surface. We cannot visually see from the inside what happens outside the sphere. Outside the sphere, all kinds of cosmic processes take place, and we are in motion. That is, however, a dimension higher than where we are, and we are not aware of these rotations. However, we can observe these movements through our radio telescope. It tells the image of a space-time in which processes take place that have occurred in the past. They are actually memories or echoes of our own universe, of which we are the center. We live in a sphere of a monopole. Our world has only one pole. This is a flat, non-rotating world. The flat Earth can only be explained in this way and is also at the same time an explanation for the whole universe. We exist within a monopole, and this is something that science must know, of course. And they know this too, since they also do very specific tests and experiments that indicate that they know